Well, many blessings to you. I hope that you guys are doing really well. I have to tell you, I have to start off by saying that this is the third time that I am attempting to record this video. And so hopefully I'll be able to complete it. And it's interesting because I was inspired to come on and do a little share on the Lion's Gate, which is upcoming. And I was inspired by one of my students, Maureen, who has been asking me for some time to do a similar video to a video that I did about a year ago, speaking about the star seeds and the Pleiades. And so, thank you, Maureen, for the inspiration. And I felt that it was appropriate since we are close to entering the Lion's Gate. Of course, many of us know what the Lion's Gate is. It is when the Syrian portal is the closest to us, to the earth realm. We know that there's an astrological connection to that. August being the symbol of Leo, the lion. And we know that there's a scientific meaning that we could call quantum as well, in that there's a rotation with astrology and the symbols, the signs of astrology, and that during the month of August, the Syrian gateway is closest to the earth, right? We're so very grateful for the Sirians, of course, because it's not just that they're a sign within the astrology umbrella. They are the gatekeepers. They are the guardians of the earth realm. And that's why we are so very grateful when we hear that the Lion's Gate, the portal, is being opened into the earth realm. We know that they're always with us as guardians, as the guardians that they are. But during this period between July 25th approximately to about August 15th, we know that the gateway is wide open because astrologically Leo is the closest to Earth. And this is when we get those incredible streams and activations from the Sirians, from the gatekeepers, right? And the guardians of the earth. Yes. We don't know too much about, and I say we as a general term, about the Sirians when we talk about the star seeds. We do know that they're a 12-dimensional beings, very highly evolved sentient beings. And up until recently, and again, I could only share what I know humbly from the extensive teachings, the mystery teachings that I have received over the years, decades, from Thoth himself and the council. But by no means do I call myself the know-it-all, right? And so I know that this may have a resonance to some, and maybe to some it may not, and that's okay. I'm just here to share what I very strongly, humbly know to be divine truth, right? And so the Syrians, as I said, are guardians. They're very evolved. They're 12-dimensional beings, and for that reason, and it's a powerful reason, they're not here to interfere with our process, our growth, our journey. And when you think about numbers and you think 5th dimension, 12th dimension, there's a pretty big scale in between those dimensions in evolution, right? In evolution. As 5th dimensional beings, we're just beginning to have this really awakening into self-realization, right? So when we think about that, the 8th, the 9th are pretty evolved souls in their own right. And when we think of the 12th dimension, well, they're incredibly evolved, right? And so my observation is going to say that there are not many Syrians who have been, like running around, being part of the journey and the experience. There have been Syrians throughout the cycles. I know of a beloved who is very so endeared to so many because of his incredible sacred work. His name is Melchizedek Drumvalo. Of course, he's the author of the Flower of Life volumes and The Serpent and the Light. And he very openly shares how he was a Walkin how he remembers he was a Walken and why he was a Walken. And so let's take a few moments to sort of talk about that. And like I said, this is not this insight of mystery teaching is not very readily available. Although over the last 5 or 10 years, there has been some activity, and that more and more sentient beings are talking about being walk-ins and have a memory of being walk-ins, right? And I'm going to say that even now, although it's beginning to shift, that walk-ins are, to my awareness, only Syrians, right? When we say the word walk-in, when we try to define what walk-ins really mean, that there is no other that I'm aware of, a starseed that would qualify to be called a walk-in other than the Syrian energies, the 12th dimension. And that if they do or have, that it is surely because there is an incredible mission at hand that needs their attention or needs their energy to facilitate, right? The completion of a mission, the continuation of a mission that will otherwise be compromised, right? So what am I really talking about? Well, we have infinite numbers of souls who are having the journey and the human experience, right? And at any given time, as we know, there are certain souls who, for whatever reason, have become exhausted in their journey, right? And realize that on a soul level, it may be more beneficial for them to recycle, to transcend, and to reincarnate in order to continue their journey. Because through free will and through choices, there has been a redirection of what the soul intention, the soul work, the goals, right, may have been. And so, of course, we know with many blessings that many souls transcend, right? And what occurs during a walk-in experience is that there's a transition that's taking place where a soul, an embodiment, a soul who's here on a journey may have this awareness on a very subconscious but conscious level that they're ready to transcend. And right in the cusp of that transition, there is a Sirian who recognizes that they can actually intercede, right, with permission, to be able to sort of pick up where this soul who is ready to transcend and sort of take over. Now, why would they do that? Again, they would not just, a starseed Sirian would not just decide, oh, you know what, I just want to have the human experience. So this soul is sort of deciding to transcend. So, I think I'm going to give it a try. No, right? Because again, and this is what's really important, they have a high evolution, right? They're 12th dimensional beings. And to enter into a 5th dimensional state could almost be detrimental to them because of the vastness of the dimensional awareness, right, in frequency, right? And so if they do, it has to be for a very important reason. And so, of course, we want to honor those souls who agreed to be part of a walk-in experience. And I can tell you that it's not an easy transition when there is indeed a walk-in experience where a Syrian walks in to take over or replace a soul who has chosen to transcend and to sort of pick up where the other soul left off. It sounds a lot easier than what it really is. It's very impactful. It could be very traumatic, and that's why it doesn't happen often. Because It's a very impactful shift. But once again, we bring into light the fact that that type of situation, a walk-in situation, will not happen randomly, right? Over the last 5 or 10 years, as I said, there has been a lot of expression coming out of individuals talking about walk-ins. And I would say that because we're so in the throttle of the ascension process, that it's very possible that there are more walk-ins than, say, 5 or 10 years ago. And that not that it's becoming saturated, but they're still coming in for a powerful reason, for a very collective reason. But it's probably a little bit more common, and I use that word, not loosely, because there's a lot of collective work and a lot of mission work that still is being done, even as we have said that we're in a new paradigm. There's a lot of cultivation. There's a lot of pioneering work that needs to still be set into place, into motion, right, into action. And so I also have heard, excuse me, about that there are different types of walk-in and different type of Sirians, and I could only speak again for the knowledge, the wisdom that I've been given, gracefully given by Thoth himself and the mystery teachings, the councils. I'm not aware of different types of starseed Sirians, different roles that they may play. I am not aware of that. And so I'm going to say that although it may exist, that the protocol still is that Syrian lion Sirians from the 12th dimension are still coming in for very powerful reasons. And they don't randomly come in, right? They can come here to facilitate a great mission. And so we want to thank them. How does it play a part in the Lion's Gate energy that opens then for us, not talking about the walk-ins, but more so about the portal that is open every year in August for humanity? Very much so, because every time that a portal is opened, right, whether it's through the Schumann resonance, whether it's through a solar flare, this is incredible activation energy that's coming on a very high quantum energy frequency to awaken us, to activate us, right, to help us transform, transmute, right, and to remember. And so when the Lion's Gate is in alignment, right, during the month of August, primarily in late July, we should be very open to receiving those streams of high evolution, of high frequency, of guardian, right, of guardian energy, of being taught, mentored, of being directed, guided, right? Very important to be open, right? Many people do ceremonies. I know that for many years I have conducted the Lion's Gate alignment in New York to just really bring reverence and to create a gateway of receptivity, of receiving that beautiful, high vibrational, evolved 12-dimensional energy from the Sirians, right? So we know them as Sirians. We know them as beautiful guardians. They definitely are guardians of the earth. We remind ourselves that although they're guardians, it is to protect us, to allow us to be able to continue the ascension process without any obstruction from any other dimensional beings. And so we thank them very much for being those guardians for us. Some of the other connections that we can make to the Sirians that I have not shared already is that there are some who are here who have reincarnated, very few, from a Sirian dimensional space. How do we know them? They're actually, generally speaking, and say this with love, very introverted, hermit-like. They're not social butterflies. Why? Because even if they come with just the innate awareness that they were from a 12-dimensional frequency, there's still an awareness that they can be impacted by the shift in the frequency, right? So they're not social butterflies. They happen to be very reserved, very intelligent, actually. They have an intellect that could sometimes be a problem here if they're an embodiment, stubbornness, just seeing things. Because from where they came, they see how far we've come. And so sometimes it's difficult for a Syrian who is on mission work here to have the tolerance to be able to understand that, hey, you came from a 12-dimensional field, but now you're in a 5th-dimensional experience. So learning how to be tolerant, to not be so impatient. Being logical is another, I don't know if I want to call it attribute. It could be a pro or a con where, because, again, there was this acute knowingness in a 12-dimensional state, all of a sudden you find yourself in a 5th-dimensional state and body. But you have this logical way of thinking about things, as if you know that there's a better way, right? And so those are some of the attributes that can sort of like stick out as a symptom, or to recognize that perhaps you were indeed a Syrian. But really, we're all divine sentient beings from the absolute greatest place of one. We are all divine and we're all perfect equally, right? And so while we should definitely honor the Lion's Gate, the guardians, the gatekeepers who are here, also to not get so lost in trying to identify who we were, although there's an aspect that can help us to remember, yes, but to not run away, become obsessed and having to know who you were, because really when we remember who we are is to just be able to enhance then the mission that we're here still to complete, still to accomplish, right? Not to be running around identifying who we were, but more so like, why are you here again, right? Why are you here, and what part do you play in this beautiful journey and ascension that we're having in the earth, right? And so I hope that this bit of sharing about the Sirians, the gatekeepers, the guardians, was helpful. Of course, if you identify with some of the sharing that I did and you wish to share a comment, I would love to hear what you have to say, right? I probably will have an event or video for the Lionsgate on or about August 8th or around that time, which is the apex of the Sirians Gate, Lionsgate energy. And as always, I would love to hear your comments. I love so very much. I'm able to see the views that some of the videos receive. And I just wish that you guys would take a moment to like. It's so important. Of course, we all who are on YouTube share this, the importance of liking, of sharing the videos. So take a moment, please share, because it makes a huge difference on the algorithm of how the videos are shown. It's tragic when we take the time to share these beautiful insights, and because the video is not exposed, so very few people are able to really benefit, right, from the teachings, right? So please take a moment to share, take a moment to like, and take a moment to share any comments that you have. And as always, If there's something that a topic in particular that you'd like to discuss, especially in regards to the mystery teachings, don't be shy. Reach out and let me know. And of course, I will be back, right? But until then, I leave you with my love, with my light, and with my peace. I hope that you know how much I love each and every one of you. And I hope that you're doing wonderful and that you're ascending and being in a place of divine joy every single moment. Yes? Love you guys. I'll see you really soon.